A man goes to a local bar to hang out with a couple friends, has a little too much to drink, leaves, and is never seen again. We've heard these circumstances before, but this is a new story, and that means that there is a new hope. It's time for us to turn on the searchlight for Joshawa Bentley. Hey everyone, John Lorden here. Thank you so much for joining me on another episode of Brainscratch Searchlight. Well, this is the man that we're looking for, Joshawa Bentley. Let's go ahead and jump into the information, figure out where this takes place, what are the circumstances, and is there something that we can do together to help find the answers in this case. Starting at Wikipedia, learning about Kentville. Kentville is a town in Kings County, Nova Scotia. It is one of the main towns in the Annapolis Valley, and it is the county seat of Kings County. As of 2016, the town's population was 6,271. And there's an important feature that we need to talk about with Kentville. As you can see here on the map, we've got a lot of water around it. And with the circumstances that we've talked about at the start of this episode, water is a particular concern for me, just with the history I have of looking into cases like this. But there's something else. Kentville owes its location to the Cornwallis River, which downstream from Kentville becomes a large tidal river. The Cornwallis River is certainly going to tie into this investigation in some way. And let's go ahead and learn more about Joshawa. Starting at his Facebook page here, not a whole lot of updates, but from what I can see, a few pictures of his family. He has two sons from a previous relationship. This is a picture of him with his girlfriend, and you can see his message here on August 31st, 2018 is, "I love this girl to the moon and back." She is extremely concerned about Joshawa because she, at this time, is also pregnant with his unborn child. So we really want to try to help find these answers. But not only for that child, he's got two other boys as well. From his Facebook page, I get the feeling that he has a car that he likes. He has family that he really appreciates. But that's about it. There's not a whole lot more that we can learn from that Facebook page. Let's move over to the Kentville Police Service. We can see they have a post on March 25th. Joshawa Bentley, 29 years old, has been missing since Saturday night at approximately 10:30 p.m. He was last seen leaving the King's Arms pub. He is described as a white male, 6'1", only 120 pounds, so very thin guy. He's got a beard. He has tattoos on his right forearm. It says, "Sometimes you have to go through hell to get to heaven." He's got a handprint tattooed on his chest and a Browning symbol or a deer head tattooed on his right rear shoulder. He was last seen wearing a red and black checkered flannel shirt, black t-shirt underneath, and also jeans. And they actually have a photo here. I believe this photo on the left is from the night when he was at the bar. So none of the descriptions really go into this, but just to be clear, the shirt that he's wearing is a Johnny Cash shirt. This is a bit of a famous picture where Johnny Cash is flipping off the person taking the picture. You can't see it because his flannel is covering it up. But you also get a good sense. I mean, he's got a pretty good amount of beard in this photo, as well as his hair is a little bit grown out. I wouldn't say that it's long, but definitely a bit bushy. Let's continue at cbc.ca and get some more details. For March 25th, 2019, search is underway for missing man in Kentville. About 40 people, including police, Valley Search and Rescue, the RCMP Canine Unit, and the New Minas Fire Department searched Monday in the town and around the Cornwallis River. A helicopter was also used in the search. So is there a particular reason why they're searching around the Cornwallis River? According to the articles, maybe not at this point, but as more information comes out, it certainly might make some sense. And I've got a map that we're going to see by the end of this where I've got some of the key locations highlighted, and we can kind of look for ourselves and see if it makes sense that there might be some risk that he did wind up in the Cornwallis River. But let's go ahead and continue with another article at kingscountynews.ca. This one is from the following day, March 26th, and it's talking about the search continuing. Firefighters and a provincial Department of Lands and Forestry helicopter continued to search along the Cornwallis River in Kings County Tuesday. Constable Chris Burke of Kentville Police said searchers are looking along the river as a precaution, and they don't have any indications that Bentley would have been near there. Now, for anyone that has looked into cases similar to this, I think that is a very strong move. When I started first hearing the details of this case, the first thing I did was pull up a map and said, okay, what are the water sources around this? This is already one of those situations we've seen time and time again. Someone leaves a bar on their own. Maybe they had a little too much to drink. Water sources are very dangerous at that point, particularly for men. He's a little bit out of the age range that we typically see for this. Usually it is college-aged males, but it does affect men a lot more than females, this strange phenomenon that there's still no easy explanation for. But if you look at the statistics on men falling into water and drownings, for some reason, there is a huge spike when it comes to men over women and even adults over children, in particular when alcohol is a part of that equation. I sincerely hope that's not what we're talking about here, but I just wanted to point out that the investigators, I think they're doing a good approach by checking the river right off the bat. Shouldn't be the only approach, though. There could be a lot of other stuff that's going on here. First of all, if he had a bit too much to drink, was there something going on in his personal life? We know that his girlfriend was pregnant. Was that a stressor of some kind? I don't have any information to support that. I'm just trying to theorize about what other things could be at play that might have motivated him maybe to want to leave this area, maybe to want to restart his life somewhere. Or is there possibly something else going on? Maybe some type of foul play scenario. Someone sees a guy that's stumbling home, tries to take advantage of him in some way. I think there's a lot of other possibilities, but I certainly understand why investigators are keeping a pretty strict eye on that river right off the bat. This is not a recovery mission. It is still a missing person case, said Constable Chris Burke. He also said that they're not sure where Bentley was headed after he left the pub. He lives off Belcher Street in North Kentville and would have had to cross the bridge over the river if he was walking home. So there, at least we have some logic that is actually kind of pushing more in the direction of we really should be investigating that river more strongly. From where he was at the bar to his home, he would have had to have crossed that river. And like I said, we're going to look at a map a bit later once all the locations have come out in articles, and I'll show you guys what we're talking about. Burke also added that there is no indication of foul play. So in a situation like I was talking about, it would have to be something just completely random, some crime of opportunity if there is a foul play element going on here. I'm a bit curious that I haven't seen any information about who he was with when he was at the bar. We are going to get his girlfriend commenting on the last time she saw him, but not a lot of detail. In terms of a timeline leading up to his disappearance, it's really not here. All we know is when his girlfriend last saw him, when he was last seen at the bar, and then that's it. But let's continue. Burke said police are asking residents, particularly those between downtown Kentville and Applecrest Drive in North Kentville, to check their backyards and outbuildings for any indication that Bentley may have been there. As far as I know, no tips of that type have actually panned out. Continuing with another article at globalnews.ca, no tip is too small. Girlfriend of missing Kentville man clinging to hope. And here is another picture of the couple together, Joshawa Bentley and his girlfriend, Katrina Schofield. A missing man from Kentville drank half a quart of whiskey, a beer, and a couple shots before vanishing, and his girlfriend can't help but expect the worst. Now, unfortunately, I don't know if that is a typical night out for him. I don't know if that is him drinking more heavily than he usually does. So I have nothing to compare it to. Only his friends and family would really have that type of insight, and no one's really speaking about that, at least in the media that I've reviewed here. Katrina Schofield says he was cut off for being too intoxicated and hasn't been seen since. So that's leading me to believe that he might have been drinking more than usual. And it just has me wondering, was something going on in his life? Was he having trouble at work? Was he having trouble with his personal life? Something along that, financial distress of some kind. If he was a regular drinker and that was a typical night out for him, I don't think that he would have necessarily been booted from the bar. I think people can build up a pretty strong tolerance if they're drinking like that regularly, or at least the appearance that they're, not too intoxicated, which apparently, the bar saw him and thought that things had gone too far and they cut him off when he left. It's very strange, said Schofield, who's dated the 29-year-old for 2 years and is expecting a baby this summer. He's a mama's boy. Anytime anything's ever happened to him in his lifetime, he called his mother. We're all really, really close. Schofield says Bentley has children that live in New Brunswick, so she feels he may have tried to travel in that direction. Now, interestingly, New Brunswick is like hours away, so I don't know that traveling in that direction on foot is really feasible. There is no mention here at all of him being with his car or having any method of transportation outside of walking, so I don't think that he got into a vehicle after he had been drinking too much, and there's no mention at all of his vehicles missing or anything along those lines. So kind of tough. I don't know how to take that. I get what she's saying. He's got kids that live out there, so maybe it would be important to him to try to get out to that particular area. But if he's only on foot, I can't imagine that he would say, you know what, I'm going to walk for a day or whatever it would take for him to get out there. Possibly use public transit or something along those lines, maybe. But with the information I've seen, his bank accounts aren't being used. There's one thing that's critically missing from this whole story I have seen no mention of across any of the articles, and that's his cell phone. And I'm very curious why they haven't tried to ping his cell phone or check the GPS on his cell phone, check his location history with Google if they've got his login for that. There's a lot of aspects in terms of investigating a case like this where I would think a cell phone would be extremely important. Perhaps he didn't have one, but I'm not necessarily seeing that either. I'm just not seeing any information to support that the investigation has looked in the direction of the cell phone. I'd be extremely surprised if they haven't. I think it just hasn't come out in media, but I did just want to put that out there. And another quote from his girlfriend: the first couple days we were hopeful he would turn up, and we just don't know what to do with ourselves. And this is only a couple days into it that this article is even written. But let's continue with more information from his girlfriend over at cbc.ca. We also have another picture of Joshawa here. I saw him at 6:30 Saturday evening when I left for work, Schofield said. So that's the last time that she actually sees him. Sergeant Martin Smith says Bentley's bank account hasn't been touched since he went missing. Ground search teams have covered several areas of Kentville and New Minas, including popular trails in the area. A helicopter has been searching from the air, and a hovercraft was brought in Tuesday to search the Cornwallis River. One tip has given Schofield some hope. There was a report there was a man seen wearing a red flannel checkered jacket like Josh was wearing, she said. It is the only tip police have received. They are asking anyone with information about the case to call them. It's a bit of a weak tip. Red flannel, I think that it's a common thing. There's a lot of people that are going to have that out there. Is it worth looking into? Absolutely. But kind of heartbreaking to me that this is the only tip that they've received. And we're now looking at about a week into the investigation when this article came out. Bentley, who works at the Michelin plant in Waterville, has 2 boys from a previous relationship. The longer it all goes on, all I can think is he's hurt somewhere or he's lost, said his girlfriend. Another article from kingscountynews.ca. Really bizarre twist in this, and it's hard for me when I see things like this because I would like to think that social media is more responsible than doing something like this. we had a bit of a bizarre turn. Rumors of recovered body not helping Kentville's search. This is from March 28th. Kentville Police say false rumors about the discovery of a body along the Cornwallis River Wednesday night are not helpful to their search efforts for a missing North Kentville man, even as security video footage has provided a new clue to his movements. Constable Chris Burke, the search leader, said someone falsely posted on social media that a body had been found. Now, I hope this is just an honest mistake, but I've spoken to enough families in these situations to know that there are people that would maliciously do something like that. I don't know why. I don't know if they're trying to get attention. I don't know if they get some kind of kick out of seeing that they can get something that they've done posted in a news article or popping up on their local news channel. I don't know what motivates it, but I have a feeling this might be that someone was walking by the river, saw the search efforts that were going on, and thought that was related to a body recovery instead of realizing that this was actually an active search and investigation that was happening. I would just like to hope that that was the basis of this and that it wasn't someone that was looking for attention in some way. Ground search and rescue teams were back along the Cornwallis River Thursday looking for 29-year-old Joshawa Bentley. Burke said that security footage from a camera at the Kentville Justice Center shows Bentley walking alongside the building in the direction of the river near the Cornwallis Street Bridge. We're pretty positive it was him, Burke said. So let's go ahead and bring up the map and take a look at all this. First of all, I have the first location, which is his workplace. That's the Michelin Tire Waterville plant over here. I don't know if he was working that day, if he went from work to this place, considering that his girlfriend says that she saw him before she left for work. I would assume that she saw him at home. And this is a Saturday. I don't know if his job is Monday through Friday. But regardless, this is where he works. And approximately, I think if I remember right, it's like 7 or 8 miles away from that is where the King's Arm pub is here. And the Kentville Justice Center is right up here. Now, the directions, the blue line that you're seeing is walking from King's Arm pub, or actually driving from King's Arm pub to Belcher Street, which is where he lived. So the automatic route that comes up certainly does take him across the bridge that crosses the Cornwallis River right here. Now, the Cornwallis River, you can see it kind of wraps around a marsh. I've seen some photos, and I do believe that they actually looked through this marsh as well. But what is kind of scary is the Cornwallis River actually opens to a much larger water source, and that water source feeds all the way out. I mean, you can see it just continues going and going and going. So, we've looked into cases before where bodies have traveled miles. I really hope that's not the situation that we're dealing with here. But if we do look at the basics of the locations we're talking about, King's Arm Pub, possible sighting at Kentville Justice Center, heading towards the bridge. He would have had to have crossed the bridge to get back to his home. It is a strong possibility. And once again, I think that the investigators were doing the right work in terms of trying to check the river right off the bat. However, after a certain number of days, we can see here at kingscountynews.ca, ground search called off for now. Kentville Police Service Deputy Chief Darrell Brown has confirmed the extensive search and rescue operation for Joshawa Bentley, 29, was called off March 31st. 10 agencies, including Valley Search and Rescue, Kentville Police, RCMP Canine Services, and a Canadian Forces diving unit aided in the search. Crews spanned land, water, and even the air via a Department of Lands and Forestry helicopter. Sonar was also used, but Brown could not confirm when or where. The crews completed a very thorough search of the area. At this point, they have covered everything they could possibly cover, said Brown. We're still following up on any new leads that come through and are worthy of investigation. We are doing this as best we can and being as thorough as possible. You never know when you're going to get another call, said Brown. So unfortunately, in terms of details for this case, that's all we have to go on. It's pretty clear that the investigation was focused on the river. That's completely where my concerns are as well. However, it might be a good thing that despite all these searches, nothing really panned out there. So is there potentially something else that's going on here? Like I mentioned, was there some reason for him to disappear? What's going on with his cell phone? Is this possibly a foul play scenario that hasn't been identified yet? I don't know. There's a lot of options still available in this case. But ultimately, I'm just kind of heartbroken for a woman that is, planning a new future. This is Katrina's Facebook page. And she has been posting regularly, talking about how much she misses Joshua. And she posted this quote in particular that I wanted to share with you guys. "You never realize how strong you are until being strong is the only choice you have." And that's a quote from Bob Marley. And I can tell you, I've heard that sentiment from many different family members that I've spoken to that have missing loved ones. You can see her Facebook image here is actually Joshua. And just a few days ago, Joshua Mason Bentley, I miss you more than words could ever describe. So this is the man we're looking for, everyone. Please, please share this video with any friends you have in the area. And who knows how far he could have traveled at this point. So I don't think anything is out of bounds for this. I wish we had better detail. I wish we had more information about what could have been going on in his personal life. We don't at this point. Maybe that'll change in the future. If it does, I'll do an update episode to let you guys know of any new developments. From the bottom of my heart, I am seriously hoping that this is not the outcome that we have seen in several cases like this. I think we have to hold on to that piece of hope that maybe the outcome will be different in this type of case. And for any family or friends of Joshua's that bump into this video, please check the description box below. I've got a link down there to missing person tips that I've put together. You might want to check out that webpage. There might be some different ideas for you guys to try down there that might be helpful in this case. And if you have information, or if you have friends that you think might have information, send this video to them, because in the description box below, I also have the contact information for the authorities. And let's try to get some tips called in on this. I'd hate to think that there was still only that one tip called in, but I don't have any other media sources to tell me any different. So my heart truly, truly goes out to Joshua's friends and family. Before I finish today's episode, I have to thank many new patrons. Thank you guys so much. Shelly, Melephant Coy, hope I'm saying that right, Alexis Cassie, Lauren Johnson, Sophie Hale, Catherine Hanna, Andrea Seemeyer, Raquel Bedgood, Jill Reaney, and Thea Van Denberg. I also want to give a special thank you to a channel I'm actually a fan of, Top Fives, who is now supporting on Patreon as well. Thank you so much, Top Fives. On top of that, we had a few users increase their pledges. Big thank you to Catherine Hanna, Thea Van Der Berg. So she started an account and then increased the pledge. Thank you, Thea. And Julie Miller. Thank you all so much for supporting the channel, keeping me here doing what I love doing, trying to help other people in need. Take care, everyone. I'll see you back here on Friday with a brand new episode of Brainscratch on the Lord and Arts channel.